there is no security, only opportunity. Benny Bruckner said those words 90 years ago, and he would know. In the midst of the Great Depression, left unemployed by the devastation of the Dust Bowl, he took a leap of faith and founded what would become one of the most successful trucking dealerships in the nation.
When you think of an entrepreneur, you think of my granddad. People either called him Benny or Senior. So Benny was this, larger than life kind of personality. He never met a stranger. He was always looking to help someone.
Today, Bruckner stretches over 9 states with more than 40 locations and some 1,300 employees. But in 1932, it was little more than a dream beginning to take root in Benny Bruckner's garage in Amarillo, Texas. Benny was no stranger to hard work or hard times. His father died when he was just a child, and Benny was forced to leave school to help provide for the family.
Those days, when your father died, the breadwinner died, everybody had to go find a job and go to work.
Benny worked in the cotton fields of South Texas and even had his own farm for a time. But when the rains dried and the crops failed, Benny made his way to Amarillo. The Great Depression followed. In 1932, he lost his job at the local power plant. Equipped with only a 4th grade education, he set about providing for his wife, Willie Mae, and their 2 small children.
I can only imagine today how devastating that would be to lose your job in the middle of the Great Depression and unemployment is at 25%. You've got 2 little kids to feed.
Didn't have much of an education, and reading and writing was, a struggle for him. And so Willie Mae would, help with the books and tug on his ear a little bit and give him whatever kind of guidance that he needed, and maybe kind of brought him down to earth a little bit.
What Benny lacked in formal training, he made up for in enthusiasm. And he would tell anyone who would listen that persistency was the key to success.
We'd always say, persistency, persistency, persistency. He'd just go around and say that. And that, I think, is kind of what kind of framed his character, I think, and kind of how he worked.
Persistency. And another thing is to be on the spot. And that's what I always tell the salesman. To get there in the morning when the man opens the door.
My grandfather's one of those guys that, if he decided something, you didn't necessarily have a whole lot of choice. If somebody told him no, my grandfather felt like that was just a yes later on.
In the early days, Benny worked on whatever he could land in his garage: washing machines, cars, tractors. But over the years, his talent and formidable drive began to laser in on big trucks, the kind of rigs that were building a bold new America in the aftermath of World War II. In 1948, he landed a contract with Mack Trucks that set the company firmly on the road to success. At the heart of his business were 4 core values: honesty and integrity, valuing customers and employees, keeping the focus on the customer.
And our final core value is we do what it takes. My grandfather, he did what it took. He did what it took to start his business, to grow his business. We do what it takes to support our fellow team members. We do what it takes to support the customer. We do what it takes to get that job out the door, and sometimes that's hard.
A lot of times we think about that in relationship with customers, and we do what it takes to help them, but it's also, I think it's kind of us on our part to do what it takes to grow and develop and to take on, more responsibilities.
People, that's the important part in life, is people. And surround yourself with comfortable people.
For Benny Bruckner, the heart of that comfort always lay within his own family. His son, Ben Jr., officially came on board in 1948. The family's first college man, Ben Jr. set about modernizing the company and making innovations that established the bedrock of future success.
When my dad came back, he began to introduce, modern counting ideas and practices. He introduced modern inventory control in our parts department. He was one of the earliest to computerize the business.
Ben Jr. also added Volvo to the company's lineup, expanding Bruckner's from vocational utility trucks to the vehicles that help move and shape America's economy.
You get to work with a lot of different types of industries, and so we get to work with people that are hauling goods up and down the highway, the groceries to your grocery store, or we get to work with construction companies, oil field companies, and ready mix companies, and guys that do a lot of really cool things.
Benny's grandsons, Brian and Chris, joined the family business in the early 90s. The brothers have carried the legacy forward by expanding to 5 new states. Bruckner's has grown from 3 employees to more than 1,300. But Brian and Chris travel regularly to each store, maintaining the personal connection that Benny Bruckner was famous for.
Benny and Willie Mae absolutely lived the American dream. I mean, to be able to start with nothing and grow that into a highly successful business.
I'm sure you're very proud to be part of all of this and build upon what they did.
It's really an honor, right? To me, it's, I still think about my grandfather and a lot of things that we do and how we do it, and my dad. And, to be able to carry those ideas and those concepts forward is, it's a special thing to our family.
He'd kind of stand up there and he'd just go, "How sweet it is that just to think all the accomplishments that they've had and made over the years, and so that was always kind of fun to see."
Consistency. And another thing is to be on the spot. And that's what I always tell the salesman. To get there in the morning when the man opens the door.